right, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us this afternoon on 89.3 FM, your preferred wholesome radio, your state number one family radio station, Wells Radio, broadcasting live from Wells Broadcasting House along Alafin Avenue, Oluyole, Estate Ibadan, the capital of your state. My name is Ayo Emmanuel-Ojo. Thank you once again for joining us. We have a special session for the next 20 minutes to talk about the security situation here in Oyo State. And of course, a special program coming up tomorrow, a town hall meeting coming up here in Oyo State, in particular in Ibadan, the capital of Oyo State, tomorrow. And of course, I have special guests with me in the studio from News Central Television, Lagos, to have a quick chat with us on the town hall meeting, the News Central town hall meeting happening tomorrow in Oyo State. And of course, from the promo and jingle that you've been listening to for a while now. It's, of course, Wells Radio 89.3 FM. We'll also be streaming that live right here on our radio dial. So you can also listen to the program on radio tomorrow. The theme of the program is Oyo State at a Crossroad, Safety, Security, and the Future. And, of course, with me in the studio, I have Macbeffe. I hope I pronounced that well now.
Yes, you did.
The brand communications lead, News Central Television, and of course Bernard Akide, a lead reporter from News Central Television. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Okay, let's start with Mark. How are you doing, by the way?
Oh, I'm fine. I'm great.
It's a tough time for broadcasters, journalists, I can imagine. And I say this to people all the time. You appear on television, you look good, you're at the sight of the scene, you're on radio and talking about these things, and it has its own effect on our mental health. I don't like to say mental health. I sound like a Gen Z when I do that, but it is what it is when we talk about these things. Bring me up to speed. How has it been like for you? I'll come to Bernard because I know I've seen you at some of the sites on television.
Yes.
And I would like to have your own, perspective, first-hand experience before we talk about the town hall.
Okay, so bring you up to speed in terms of you referred to mental health.
Yes, and of course, seeing the story firsthand,
right?
Sharing the story and all of that.
Right. Our position at News Central is we're fearlessly reporting on what matters most. If I'm going to speak briefly about mental health, I would say because this is June, and of course men's mental health is relatively important.
Absolutely.
But we are at the forefront of events and covering happenings live from almost every corner in Nigeria and Africa at large. So we see this happen every day. We're not immune to feeling maybe you get to be shocked at the sights of what you get to see. But as trained individuals who our core responsibility is to be able to communicate as it is, you have no choice but to be strong. I mean, look at reporters in the front line. Bernard will speak more on that. In the front line of these events, we don't have to tell biased stories. So we can leave our mental health at one corner, right? And you have to tell people how these things happen. So, for us, it's the job, and we do it fearlessly and we do it boldly.
Fearlessly.
Yes.
And I believe that's what News Central is known for.
Right.
Fearless reporting.
Right.
Bernard, talk to me. How's it been like for you?
Well, thank you for having us to start with. More often than not, I'm the one on the other side of the table interviewing.
I know,
people,
right?
So it's a reverse feeling. Yes, so just like Mark has said, at News Central, and you clearly have said it too, fearless reporting is what we pride ourselves in. Unfortunately, it means that we have to be at the forefront of the action as it happens. We see ourselves almost like the soldiers who go out there, fighting, only that we more often than not get there when things have happened. Rather than just sitting back and telling the stories that we hear or that we see on social media. We go there to live it as it actually is, hear directly from the victims or their family members. Mark equally did mention that concerning the space of insecurity in the country, we have touched several places physically. We've been to Maiduguri in the north, we've been to Katsina, we've been to Jos several times, we've been to Benue State as well, we've been to Kwara, Eruku, we've been to Kwara about 3 times, if I'm not mistaken. I personally was on ground in Eruku, spent 2 nights there. We had another person.
The same village?
Yes, Eruku village itself.
Wow, interesting.
Eruku is about 4 hours away from Ilorin, the state capital itself. You know, so driving through the dusty and muddy roads, through the bush paths, first of all, gives you that feeling of, I would say, fear, first of all, and then secondly, of how insecurity can be in certain places that seemed ungoverned, basically. You know, and then you get to the village and see how vulnerable some of these people are and get to understand how and why it could have been a bit easy for the assailants to pick that number of people. In the case of Eruku, about 38 of them, I think, were taken into the bushes. 3 lost their lives in the whole process. We were there. We saw the aftermath of the effect fresh. We already had reporters on ground still in Kwara State who went to Woro, you know, who went to Kayama, and then we had a third visit, of course, still concerning reporters going to these actual locations. So, again, answering your question, it gives you that almost direct feeling of what these people may have had, may have felt, may have seen, you know, while the whole thing was going on, and then you get to hear directly from family members of those who were affected
by this.
You know, exactly. So you get to see how people, you know, people, grown adults shedding tears, begging, praying, asking for their relatives to be brought back to them safely. You know, so that's basically. And then, like he also said, well, June is supposed to be men's mental health month.
Well, it is not supposed to.
It is men's mental health month. So yes, it does take a toll on one's mental health at some point. But as they say, you know, it's a tough job. Somebody has to do it.
Somebody has to do it. I'll come to Mark in a moment. So we talk about the town hall itself and why this is very important to News Central at a time like this. But I'll stay with you for a moment. The theme of the town hall in Oyo State is Oyo State at a crossroads: safety, security, and the future. No doubt that Oyo State is at a turning point right now. Who would have thought that in Oyo State we're going to be having this kind of conversation? Why is this conversation very important at a time like this? Knowing that, of course, you are a reporter on the field, why is that important, especially for a state like Oyo?
All right, so I think the reason why right now there's a lot of conversation around this is because initially, I mean, it's not the first time that we've been having this kind of insecurity cases. You know, for several times, years back, we had the Chibok girls kidnapped. We've had several of such abductions happen in the north. And I think at some point, I wouldn't want to use the word oblivious, but I think at some point we didn't, you know, not a lot of people thought that it was this serious. You know, they say it hits differently when it's close to home.
Absolutely.
So now we are seeing the movement of these activities closer to the southwestern region of the country than, you know, in the north central that we used to see and that used to be reported. And now people are beginning to see that, oh, this is actually real. You know, if it gets to, I mean, it got to Kwara State at some point, they were concerned. And then from Kwara, we're seeing that through the same bushes, the same forest reserve, it's migrated towards Oyo. Who's to say it's not going to, it cannot get anywhere else besides that area? Remember that the same forests connect states like Kwara, like Oshun, like Oyo, Ogun, and then of course invariably Lagos at some point. So I think it is now beginning to dawn on everybody that insecurity to one is insecurity to all. You know, that if there's a fear of this spreading in one part, there equally is the fear of it spreading across the entire country if it is not nipped in the, at this point you can't say nip it in the bud, it's grown beyond the bud, but it has to be controlled at a certain point. So even though we are anchoring at Oyo, stating what happened, we are expanding the conversation beyond just Oyo and looking at the entire southwest region, and then eventually, of course, across the country. And I think that's actually why it's important at this time.
Thank you so much, Bernard. Let me come to Mark. News Central Television. This is not the first in the series of town hall, meetings. I've watched a few. it's the job that we do, so you also need to keep yourself abreast. And then the town hall meeting usually is the first-hand contact when you see some of the victims and families involved. I wanted to talk about it for us. Would like to know what are the things to expect. Of course, you cannot hold everyone in your state. I'm not sure the venue is also in public domain, right? But of course, it will be live on radio and also on News Central Television to watch. But I wanted to talk to us about the series in itself and what to expect. I have my own expectations. People I would like to hear from tomorrow. Because even in the midst of all of this, some key stakeholders are still running away from the media. And I'm sure that I just hope to see all of them tomorrow at the town hall, to get that level of first-hand grilling. But let me hear from you.
Well, thank you. So you asked New Central's position.
Yes, your position, the town hall.
We pride ourselves in saying that we want to have our fingers on the pulse of the nation. That is to say that New Central is fully grounded. I mean, Bernard has listed over about 15 town halls and, events where New Central has actually picked up conversations. Now, the question would be coming to Oyo, and he just nipped it in the bud when he said that we're not just looking at, Oyo as an happenstance. We're looking at it across the southwest. I mean, the southwest. Look, at a few days ago, something happened around Mowe Bafo. I mean, we're looking at things gravitating towards Lagos. So, as we look at the event for tomorrow, and by the way, you're talking about the address not being in the public domain. I mean, it's happening tomorrow. We have nothing to hide.
Nothing to hide.
Right? It's happening at the Ibadan Civic Center. And then we're looking at holding speaking truth to power. Basically, that is the focus of that. You were saying you don't know who to expect. Everybody that needs to be there has been contacted. We're not trying to, shy away from this responsibility because we want to give the people. Look, for example, now let me go. People would not have a platform. We've seen stories on social media, but what we are doing is giving people that platform to say, "Come and tell as it is." We're not trying to whitewash it. We're not trying to look at it from. I mean, the mic will be handed over. Bernard. You've seen it.
Absolutely.
The mic will be handed over to these victims and say, "Look, tell your story."
Yeah.
That is what New Central is about. We don't try to go around and then no. Tell your story. So yes, what you're going to expect is people to come there and then tell as it happened. If we can be able to get the victims to be able to present, they will be there to say, "My child was kidnapped. This is what happened on so date, and this is what has been done."
Right.
I mean, we know about the other stories we don't want to bring up, but people should be able to speak for themselves. So yes, that is what we are about.
Let's talk about language.
Right.
I would want you to also run through the venue and the time again. And of course, it should be shown live on New Central Television. So if you cannot make it there, and you can also listen to Wells Radio if you live in Ibadan. But let's talk about language. This is your state. Are we speaking all English, or will we speaking Yoruba there tomorrow?
If I may, we would be.
that.
I mean, I would be speaking English. My spoken Yoruba is not perfect, so so I will do the little I can. But we do well to have
so you speak Yoruba.
Yes.
So we're just going to scratch that for a moment.
Okay.
But I will let you land on this one.
Maybe I've overdone myself. But as a matter of fact, my secondary school was in this part, along Iwo Road, Air Force Comprehensive School.
Okay. Yeah.
Is where I went 6 years. I was there. So what we do is when we go to places where English is not the dominant language, like in Oyo State here, where we know that even though English is spoken, we have people who would still want to interact in the local Yoruba dialect. We get a translator or an interpreter who would equally stand beside me while hosting and speak. Like Mark said, we want to hear from the people themselves, the victims. So for those who are going to speak, if they are comfortable speaking Yoruba, they go ahead and speak Yoruba. And then we have our interpreter speak English. If they are comfortable speaking Pidgin, let them have their time. And then we have somebody interpret.
Right. So just to add to that, since we're on language, and I would also like to state here, as recently we had done a town hall on people with disabilities. We don't leave them out of our town hall series.
Yeah, so they also
so yes, if they can be able to make it to the venue, they have people that will be on sign language and be able to have that covered. So language is not a barrier when it comes to our events.
Well, let's speak in Yoruba.
Bernard should do that.
Are you ready? Okay, so tó bá di ọ̀la ìpàdé ìta gbangba ti New Central Television a máa wáyé ní Ìbàdàn Civic Center ní Agodi Gate lọ́la. Kí ni káwọn èèyàn máa retí níbi ìpàdé ìta gbangba yẹn? I speak Yoruba too, so it will blow your mind.
Maybe I should have said I understand Yoruba rather than I speak.
Just try your best.
That's difficult. Everything tó bá fẹ́.
Okay.
A máa sọ nípa insecurity issues tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ní Ọ̀yọ́ state exactly àti nínú Nigeria gangan.
Okay.
You know, so everything àwọn tó yẹ kó wá síbẹ̀ lágbára Ọlọ́run ó máa débẹ̀. Àwọn victims tó ti experience àwọn insecurity àwọn issues concerning insecurity wọ́n máa wá bẹ̀. Àwọn security operatives ó dà pé bóyá yesterday lálẹ́ àná I think it was a lọ sọ́dọ̀ GOC Nigerian Army àbáwọnlé but you know wọ́n sọ pé àwọn náà máa wá síbẹ̀ a ṣe máa lọ sọ́dọ̀ Commissioner of Police so ó yẹ kí bóyá commissioner or representative commissioner ó yẹ kó wá síbẹ̀ àwọn NSCDC you know àwọn gbogbo security operatives representatives of àwọn ìjọba àwọn òṣèlú you know but most importantly you know the individuals àwọn citizens of your state àwọn la nílò
láti wá síbẹ̀. nǹkan tí Bernard ń jẹ́ kó yé wa ń sìn ni pé ìpàdé ìta gbangba ti New Central tó máa wáyé lọ́la ó ṣe pàtàkì fún wa ní ìkórìtà tá a wà yìí kí atẹ́pẹ́pẹ́ ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn sílẹ̀. Àwọn tí ọ̀rọ̀ kàn ìyẹn àwọn tí ìjàmbá yìí tó dé bá àwọn mọ̀lẹ́bí wọn tó kọ́ àwọn ọmọ wọn àti àwọn olùkọ́ àwọn aṣojú ìjọba gbogbo wọn pátápátá ló máa wà ń bẹ̀ lọ́la láti lè ṣàlàyé àwọn tó nílò ìbéèrè náà láǹfààní àti béèrè ìbéèrè àwọn tọ́rọ̀ kọ̀ọ̀gán náà á lè sọ kí ni New Central ń gbìyànjú láti ṣe láti rí i pé àpá ẹnìkankan lẹ́nu mọ́ gbogbo èèyàn ló láǹfààní láti lè sọ tiwọn ṣùgbọ́n tí ẹ bá láǹfààní àti lè wá síbẹ̀ tó bá jẹ́ pé ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ẹ láǹfààní àti wò ó lórí New Central Television. In a moment from now, probably will tell Mark to give us the channel numbers to watch it on the streaming platform. ṣùgbọ́n tó bá jẹ́ ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ lẹ́wà ní ìlú Ìbàdàn ní pàápàá jùlọ ẹ lè gbọ́ lórí ìkànnì yìí kànga gbọ́mágbẹ́ Wells Radio 89.3 FM láti aago mọ́kànlá ọ̀la títí di aago méjì ní ìpàdé yìí a máa wáyé fẹ́yìn tẹ́ ẹ̀ láǹfààní láti lè wá síbẹ̀. Mark, very quickly, what channels on DSTV and GoTV and the streaming
platform? Yes, we're 24 hours running on YouTube. That's for those who can't access cable and terrestrial and all. On DSTV channel 422, we're at Star Times 274. We're on GoTV channel 23. For those who use Morplex as well, we're on 718. And of course, at New Central TV across all social media platforms. Yes.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. I have to let you go.
Thank you.
I believe this is just the beginning of the journey.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much, Ben.
Thank you so much for having us.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you
so much.
Oyo State is on high alert. For residents of Orire community, the threat of banditry and kidnapping has become more than news headlines. It is now a lived reality. On May 15th, 2026, armed bandits struck with devastating consequences. 46 persons abducted, among them 39 children. The youngest just 2 years old. 7 teachers taken, one of them later killed. With all the pain and uncertainty, one question maintains: can Oyo State protect its citizens again? News Central brings you a special town hall conversation focused on the realities of insecurity in the state. Together, we will examine the realities on the ground and explore practical pathways towards safety and lasting peace. Watch live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, Star Times channel 274, YouTube, and on all social media platforms.
Listen live on Wells Radio 89.3 FM.
Date Thursday 11th June 2026, 11 a.m. WAT. The New Central Town Hall Series.
89.3 FM, your preferred wholesome radio.
Wells Radio 89.3 FM, your preferred wholesome radio. Wells Radio 89.3 FM, your preferred wholesome radio.